Hello everyone and welcome back. Today's video is on collectibles and this will be the end result. We will have some strawberries that the player can collect. It will also increase the variable keeping track of the number of strawberries that the player has collected. So if you want to learn how to add collectibles to your game, stick around.
Game Dev Journey.
Okay, to begin with, I'm going to create a new folder here called collectibles. And I'm going to drag and drop all of the fruits from the fruit folder into this collectibles folder. And they went to the wrong place, so I'm going to move them into collectibles. So here in collectibles, we now have apples, bananas, cherries, and we're going to use the strawberry. So let's go ahead and make a new scene. And we're going to start with an area 2D as the root node. So an area 2D is a region of 2D space that detects other collision object 2Ds entering or exiting it. And that's exactly what we want for a collectible, because we want to detect when something enters the collectibles space. And if that something is the player, we're going to remove the collectible from the scene and add one to the player's score or do whatever needs to be done. So now that we have an area 2D as the root, we can rename it to strawberry because that's what it is going to be. And we're going to add an animated sprite to represent the strawberry. And we're going to go over to the animation property and create new sprite frames. Open the sprite frames down here. I'm going to rename this to idle, and I'm going to import the sprite sheet for the strawberry. And here it is. Open that. Now, I believe there are 17 horizontal frames, one vertical frame. We'll select them all and add them. So now we have all of our strawberry idle frames. I'm going to set this to 20 FPS and leave it on looping. So this will be our animation to play for our strawberry. Now, of course, the area 2D has no shape, so we need to actually add a collision body to this. So I'm going to add a collision shape 2D. And I'm going to choose the capsule shape. And we're just going to fit it onto the strawberry like so. That looks good enough to me. Right. So now we can go ahead and script this strawberry. So let's add a script to the strawberry. Well, first let's save our scene. So let's go ahead and press Ctrl S, go to our scenes folder and save this as strawberry. Save. All right. Now let's go ahead and add a script to the strawberry node. So click on it, click on add script, strawberry, create, and here we go. Right. Playing the idle animation is pretty easy. We just need a reference to the animated sprite, and then we tell it to play idle in the process function, because then it will just repeatedly play idle all the time. An easy way to create a reference variable is to click on the node that you want to reference, drag it over, and then just before you let go, press Control. And there you go. It will create a reference variable for you. I didn't even have to type that. So over here in the process, we just have to use that reference variable, animated sprite 2D, dot play, and our animation is called idle. And that will play the idle animation. So we can save this, return to our first level, drag in a strawberry, preview the scene, and there you can see the idle animation is playing. So that was step 1. Now, strawberries only do 2 things in our game. They play their idle animation and they disappear when they are collected by the player. We've accomplished the first task. Let's do the second task. To do the second task, let's go back to the script. We will use a signal to detect when something enters the strawberry's space. So if we go back to 2D, when something enters this circle, the strawberry will send out a signal that a body has entered it. So if we click on the strawberry, we go to the nodes, and here we find signals. Here we have body entered. So we want that. Why? Because we're looking for the player, and the player is a if we look at the player, it is going to be a character body 2D. That body tells you that we need the body entered signal. So we're going to say body entered, click on connect, and here it is. So what happens when a body enters the strawberry space? Well, if that body is a player, we want to do something, but we have no way at the moment of knowing if the body is a player or not. So what we're going to do is go back to the player, and we are going to go over to node, go to groups, and we're going to add a group, and I'm going to call this group player, and I'm going to make it global. So every other scene will be able to look and see this group called player. I'm going to say okay. So now you can see that the player is part of the player group. This is kind of like tagging the player with a name so that we can check, tagging the body with a name so we can check if it is the player. So now if we go back to the strawberry, we go back to the script. Now we can say if the body that entered the strawberry dot is in group, and the group's name is player, well, then we can just remove the strawberry. So we can do queue free, save the player, go back to the level, preview it. So now if we hop along and grab the strawberry, so when I first tested the level there and we jumped over the strawberry, it didn't disappear. And the reason was because I had added the root node, which is a node 2D. I had added that to the group player. But our signal is looking for bodies. So it should be the character body 2D that is in the group player. And now if we test the game, we will be able to grab the strawberry. All right. So what else do we actually want to do here? Well, I think it would be a good idea to keep track of how many strawberries we have collected. So let's add another variable in the player script. So if we go to the player, this is the player script. Let's add a variable here to keep track of how many strawberries we've collected. So I'm going to say var strawberry count. And at the moment, when we start out, we haven't collected any. And then we'll create a method to increase the number of strawberries when we collect them. So let's call it inc strawberry. And we can say strawberry count plus equals 1. So we just add 1 to the count of strawberries when this function is called, and this will increase strawberry count. With that done, we can go back to our strawberry code and say, well, before we destroy that strawberry, let's just call the body's ink strawberry count function. So what's going to happen is, and just to show you that it knows which body it collides with. So if we type body dot name over here, we'll get a printout here of the type of body that collided with the strawberry. And then whatever that body is, if it's in the group player, we will call the ink strawberry function of that body and then destroy the strawberry. So let's have a look at that in action. So now when we run it, player comes along, gets the strawberry, and there you can see over here that it was a character body 2D that collided with the strawberry, and the count of strawberries will have increased. And we can prove that as well by printing out body dot strawberry count. But we'll have to print it after it gets, we can print it before and after. So now when we run, we come along, grab it, and there you can see before it was 0, after it is 1. So we can access functions inside the body that collided with the strawberry. And with that, we can now go to our level and drag and drop lots of different strawberries into the level, like this. Place them as you wish. So the player can go ahead and have an objective, collect all the strawberries. By putting them next to the wall, we also encourage them to do double jumping. And we can even put some over here to make it harder to reach. Now, the other reason I'm doing this is to show you how to clean up the scene. Because as I added lots of strawberries to the scene, you can see that the scene tree becomes quite cluttered with duplicates of the same scene. So what we can do to clean this up is we can add a basic node, base class for all scenes. Doesn't really do anything. We can rename it to something like collectibles, and then we can select all the strawberries and put them in that node so that we can fold it so that our scene tree is clean. It won't change any of the functionality. The game will run exactly the same, but it just makes everything a little bit neater. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope it was useful for you. Next time, we'll add a patrolling mushroom enemy that the player must defeat. See you then.